All right, people. So I'm here with my thoughts on Becky Lynch supposedly leaving WWE. My first thought when I heard this was, who gives a fuck? I mean, I've been hearing so much about Becky Lynch over the last 5-6 years. She's the man. You know, she's the greatest thing ever. I am so glad she's leaving WWE. And hopefully she doesn't go to any other wrestling company. So hopefully she just fades into irrelevancy, because I've been sick and tired of hearing about this overrated diva for the last, 5-6 years. I remember when she had a segment with The Rock. Ridiculous. We've been hearing so much about Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch being a couple. Who gives a fuck? Like, let people live their lives. I saw they were at the Kentucky Derby a few weeks ago. Becky Lynch looking like an absolute fool. They really tried to. She was basically the John Cena of the Divas division, and the fact that they tried to push her down our throats and tried to get us to accept her so much. Now, she wasn't on the top. She wasn't like pushed down our throats for the length of time that John Cena was, but she was pushed down our throats for a long time. They couldn't stop calling her the man, acting like that's such a cool nickname and she's revolutionary. She came along right at the time when at the height of this movement, not only in wrestling but in the world, where all these retards were saying a woman could do everything a man can do and better. She came along right at the right time to be an annoying ass bitch to everybody. And I am very happy that she's gone. So sick of going on Twitter and seeing pictures of her and Seth Rollins together. I mean, that's great that people are in relationships. I really don't need to see fake pictures all over the fucking place of people's relationships. Social media is one of the fakest things. It helps facilitate the facade of like two people are in such great relationships. People can post their pics and then people get jealous and all this bullshit. So I'm very glad that Becky Lynch is gone. Remember when they were talking about the Divas Revolution like 8 years ago? They had that segment on Raw, and now you fast forward and maybe the Divas division is a little bit better than it used to be, which is not saying much, people. This is the thing. People compare today's wrestling to the 2010s era of WWE, which was an absolute shit show. You had all these fucking terrible gimmicks all over the place, terrible gimmicks, terrible wrestling, terrible promos, and to say like, oh, it's better now. Well, that's not saying anything, honestly. Might be a little bit better, but again, that's not saying anything. So if it were up to me, honestly, there wouldn't even be a Divas division. Oh, Ruthless Ranter, that's sexist. No, there would not be a Divas division, because I don't believe women should be fucking wrestling each other. It's much more entertaining to see men wrestling because they're much more athletic than the Divas. So I don't think we even need a Divas division. You might as well just replace it with a couple more male promo feuds and segments and storylines, as opposed to having divas go out there that are physically, much more physically inferior to the males. Oh, Ruthless Ranter, you're not supposed to call it the Divas division anymore. They changed it to, I don't give a fuck. I still call it the Divas division, because I don't like women's wrestling. I think it's terrible. And then they started doing this shit where it's like, oh, we got to do every single thing the male division does, the women's division has to. So the women got to have a Hell in the Cell, and they got to have a Royal Rumble, and they got to have everything. They got a main event WrestleMania. And it just became annoying as fuck. And I'm really over the Divas wrestling. Again, the women should not be fucking fighting each other. That's something that should be reserved for men. I'm a believer that women should not be police officers. They should not be in the military. They should not be doing shit like that. Oh, call me sexist, but that's my belief. So I'm not a big fan of Divas wrestling. Don't think they should be on a television screen, to be quite honest with you. And you may disagree, but that's just my thoughts. And Becky Lynch is on the pinnacle of the annoying ass Divas wrestling division. So I'm glad she's gone. They made this a big story. I see it all over the wrestling websites and Twitter. I'm rejoicing about this. Seems like every year or two you got a whole new division 2 of divas. I mean, look at the Divas division today versus the Divas division 3 years ago, and then take that division and like it's just a rotating door, and everybody then gets all it's Liv Morgan, oh Becky Lynch, oh Bailey. It's like lick your finger and stick it up to the wind to see which way the wind's blowing, and let's get behind these divas for a year, and then a year later we got a whole new set. It's kind of like the men's division. The men's aren't as bad, but same. Like this is basically wrestling. Now it's like you got a whole new set of stars every 2-3 years, and they're not even stars; they're just wrestlers. So there you go, people. There's my thoughts about Becky Lynch leaving WWE. Very happy about it. There you go.